What's up guys, today we're going to be going over how to change the front brake pads on a Z51 C7 Corvette. First, while the car is still on the ground, you're going to want to crack the lug nuts loose. And these factory lug nuts are very soft, so I really recommend making sure to have a deep socket. And something like this one, which has a plastic coating, will protect you from chipping up the chrome or the black paint on your wheels. You're going to want to make sure to use a jack puck. I'll do a separate video on the best way to lift the C7. And concerning now that the car's off the ground, we're going to go ahead and finish pulling this wheel off. Now that we have the caliper off, you're going to look for these two little pins on the top and bottom, and those are going to be how you get the pads out. We're going to go ahead and take a hammer and a punch and carefully knock these pins out without scratching the caliper. Once you push them a good portion of the way through, you'll see them poke out the back. You can go ahead and pull them out. First, I'm going to see if we can push the pads back without opening the brake bleeder. It does not look like they want to budge. The bleed screw is going to be a metric 11. I like to put the box end on the bleed screw. And then I have this performance tool pump. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up to catch any brake fluid that might come out. So I'm going to crack the bleed screw loose and then twist it back just a touch so that way it's closed. And then I'm going to stick the nipple off that. So now, as I crack this screw, should be able to push these pistons back, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and close that up, fill the extra room we have. That's gonna let us get those new pads in without much of a problem. I'm sure that I can't be the only one this happened to. Funny situation, I got unlucky and this rear pad is stuck to the brake piston. I'm taking this pick here and trying to get in between the pad and the piston. First of all, I wanna clean off these pins. You can use a brake cleaner. Careful to avoid getting it on your hands or on any painted surfaces. I like to bring it away from the car and just do it on my bench here. So we're using these PowerStop Z26 brake pads. You want to try to avoid touching the actual friction material with your fingers. We all have some oils in our fingers and we don't want to get that into the pads. I'm actually going to leave this box here because it's a good, relatively clean place where I can set these down face first. I'm going to take this high temp brake grease and spread it around. Try to get a thin, even coat on the back of these pads. And the reason for this, partially it helps with squeal so the metal pistons don't rub against this, and partially so that we don't end up with a situation like I did where the pad is stuck to the piston when you try to remove it the next time. And then the other thing we're going to put that same grease on is these pins, so you can see the dark spots where they were touching the pads. So we're going to try to put just a super small amount on there. And the reason we're doing that is to try and help prevent brake noise. And you don't need to put a whole ton on here. Just a little coat so that way there's a little bit of lubrication and it's not metal to metal contact. I'm going to go ahead and slide the new pads in. I need to finagle it a little bit to find just the right angle for them. There we go. Now from the back side, go ahead and find the hole where we can stick those pins back in. They do go through the pads, so we need to make sure that the pads are in there far enough for the pin to be able to come through. And then the way I like to do this is I'm going to go ahead and use my hammer here, gently tap this pin all the way in. And then we're going to take that spring. This kit came with its own. Some pads might not come with one, so you can just reuse the factory one. We're going to put that in place, and now this needs to bend under the other pin. So I'm going to grab the other pin, start putting it in by hand. Got it. You can use your other hand to hold the spring down. Make sure you get that thing all the way through. Since I did crack the bleed screw to spread the cylinders, I'm going to go ahead and do a small bleed just to pump out any air that might have gotten in. Now that we got everything buttoned up, I'm gonna go bed in the brakes. I'll do a separate video on that, but I wanna say thanks for watching and subscribe for more automotive and motorcycle tips and tricks.